Alright, you already know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another random recap. You already know the drill. The last two videos were ranked quarterbacks in the SEC and the Big Ten. And as it was requested, I am now ranking all quarterbacks in the Big 12. It doesn't take rocket science to explain how it works. I'm going to rank each quarterback in the conference from number 16 to number 1. Pretty much it. I don't really have any more explaining to do. I'm just going to go over the quarterbacks who I believe are starting. And I'm going to go over where I believe they rank with, of course, my description. Quick disclaimer though, before we do get into the video, once again, I am not a professional, by all means. Most likely, I'm wrong on a lot of these ranks. But at the end of the day, that's just football for you. You can never get it right. So with this one, I'm probably still wrong by a good amount. This is all just fun in my personal opinion. I do ask though, if you do think otherwise for some of these ranks, please let me know down below in the comments what you would have done instead. I would love to hear everyone's thoughts. And also, all I do ask is if you are new here, please subscribe. It does help the channel grow and does help get my name out there more. And with all that being said, let's get into ranking every starting quarterback in the Big 12. Coming in at number 16, Cole Ballard. I actually can't believe it. Jalen Daniels is gone. For those who don't know, that dude has been in college for what feels like a damn millennium. It's been so long. I mean, if contracts were a thing, he would have been on his second by now. And I'm not saying that like it was a bad thing. He was a really good quarterback to watch. It's just wow. For the longest I can remember, he's been with Kansas. Really glad to see he got picked up by Tampa Bay. Anyways, with Kansas, each season more or less was the very exact same thing. Electric gameplay where he showed off his elite tools, then in the same game he'd also make a mistake or two that would affect the game overall, all without mentioning the chance he gets injured somewhere in between, cutting his years short. Very good, yes. Very injury prone, also yes. Like without the injuries, I don't think we look at him the same way we do today. That right there was the real deal if he doesn't get hurt. At his best, he's an absolute killer on the field who goes into second round at his worst. But also at his worst, he's an arm for the practice squad. Unfortunate to say, because I really loved watching him when his body wasn't shattered into pieces. So yeah, I'm glad to see he made it in the NFL somehow. Anyway, sorry about the yapping, I just wanted to talk about Daniels because, I mean, this is the full reset. Kansas just doesn't lose him and it's like, okay, we just move on to the next thing. 6 years of the same guy. Like imagine being a team not looking forward to yet again having the same guy who gives you the best chance at a winning season. They didn't have a lot of them, but with Daniels, they have a better chance than none. It's better to have somebody who's experienced all around with your system than somebody who's not. So it feels crazy to see that that era is now over and a new one begins this fall. It's like Utah moving on from Cam Rising. It feels wild to see, but they got over, so the question is, will Kansas? To answer that, I don't know. And I don't think they know either what our closest quarterback competition is between Cole Ballard, Isaiah Marshall, and Chase Jenkins. Out of these three, Chase is the only one with actual game experience playing at Rice last season. Not quality level experience, but it's game experience nonetheless. Still, he's not experienced with this system, so he's got learning curves to handle. Turning back to the other two, both Cole and Isaiah have very little samples to give you confidence that the program is in good hands. Only reason I have it as Cole being the starter for the moment is just from what I've been reading, but realistically, it could be any one of them. Fuck it, might as well actually play all three of them. You know, wouldn't be the first time a team had a different starter week after week if there's not a long-term choice here, clearly, which is of course what it looks like, because according to sources, they don't believe there's anyone here on this depth chart that gives them that chance. So I think it's going to be just them taking turns to get by as placeholders until next season when they actually have a guy they trust. Till then though, it sounds like Kansas is going to be in some pretty deep shit this season, at least just for the conference. When I say this is a reset, I mean I expect a really down year. 5 wins feels about right and anything higher is just generous. That's why I'm going to rank them as a whole here at number 16. Not a single name on this depth chart says they have a fighting chance. The only name that does ain't any better than Daniels himself when it comes to injuries. So however they throw the fire is up to them. Either way, they're all completely cooked. It's going to be a rough one and this quarterback room doesn't make the chances any better. So due to barely any experience and no decision to be made so far by the team, give me Kansas at number 16. Begin at number 15, Michael Hawkins Jr. or Scotty Fox Jr. So for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and assume Hawkins wins it out just because I think he gives him the edge, even though Scotty does have the experience. But for Michael Hawkins, I mean, I'm just guessing the shoe really did not fit for the Sooners. Had a couple starts plus appearances over the last 2 years, mainly due to injuries on their depth chart, but he really never did anything for the program, and it was clear they weren't going to do much for him either. I mean, 2 years and nothing yet, that shows they believe him enough to give it a try. So unless he wants to spend his entire career riding the bench, it was time to make the move. And with that, we have to transfer to West Virginia where he can come hopefully get the start and ball out. His competition is a returning Scotty Fox Jr. who himself also had a couple starts last season against TCU, U of H, Colorado, ASU, and my Red Raiders. All these starts came as the third quarterback they started last year, next to the other two disappointments they played, showing they're very much in need of a good quarterback that can kick some ass. The way I look at it, he's just unproven, but the thing about it is he's a really damn good athlete. Like, if you were able to watch Hawkins, you know that's the truth. He definitely still needs improvement on his passing game, mainly with the reads, but patch that up, you got yourself a playmaking sleeper. The question is, will they? Will they help him improve and be the place he needs to unlock himself and put it all together? Right now, he's just a project with large ups and downs. One play, he's looking like the best quarterback within the conference. The next, he reminds you why the program wanted really nothing to do with him. You could blame the play callers he had, but you could tell he was far from the finished product and was not ready to see the field. So yeah, an incomplete project who needs a lot of work to get to where his ceiling projects. What they do with that info is completely up to them. Either he's going to be fixed and be really damn good, or like with the Sooners, he's going to remain a piece on the bench with no real intentions of ever making a name for himself. So as I was saying, unproven and unknown. First, we got to see if he can beat out Scotty. Then after that, we'll see if the new environment gives him the opportunity he's been seeking. For now, I'm going to leave him at number 15. Good luck is all I can say, but from what we know so far, because he's an unknown talent who hasn't proven that he's a quality level starter, and the chance it can still be Fox Jr., I gotta leave him here this low. Coming in at number 14, JC French IV. My god, did anybody stay in that conference? Another Sun Belt transfer to a different conference. I'm just saying, every damn video I make these, somebody from the Sun Belt transfers. And in today's segment, it's JC French from Georgia Southern. And the question with him is, can he replace what Brendan Sorsby brought to the offense? I know it's not fair to give those comparisons like Sorsby was something elite himself, but you would hope to keep up the same energy he was giving out every week. You don't want to just go back to the bottom, and from the looks of it, not entirely too confident he'll fill the cleats Sorsby left behind. For starters, it's a one-year rental that's probably just a placeholder until something better arrives. And two, it's a new conference jump. So with the jump, it means large adjustments. It's one thing to go from playing Jacksonville State to seeing Arizona, Texas Tech, U of H, Utah, Iowa State. You get my point. It's not an easy transition. And it's not like he was elite himself or a large elevator for the Eagles. It's like contributing to a group project. You're not the main reason we got a good grade, but you're also the reason we didn't fail. Like, he's not going to lose you a game based on his actions. He plays very safe football, but he's rarely going to win you one also based on his actions. He'll have a piss poor game where he was just okay at best, then a really great game down the line where he's probably at his best, saying that's probably his ceiling. But mostly it's just nothing in between. Now, I don't mean to sound disrespectful, he can easily change, it's just how he performed in the Sun Belt is best summed up by the word mediocre. Like to nicely put it, you still probably could have got the same results, if not better, playing the sophomore they already had sitting behind Sorsby, then bringing French in, who still has to learn the system and still adjust to the conference. It's a move that makes the crowd go mild. At least, here he'll have a good run game and a strong O-line, but outside of that, I don't think he brings anything that says he's going to elevate this offense to a whole nother level. I mean, he's got experience, he's got a great arm, great athlete, but just nothing special that makes me jump out of my seat. At his best, if they give him what he needs, I see a very solid season and at least 6 wins. If he can't hang with the Big 12 or just can't deliver to their expectations, I see him being moved to a backup spot. Not bad, but not great either. Could they have done better? Definitely, but for a cheap rental, I mean, it's not really one you can complain about. Now, there's a chance I'm horribly wrong with this rank and he balls the hell out, but until I see him prove that he can make that jump against Big 12 competition and perform like he hasn't before, which is consistently, 14 feels about right. Give me JC French at number 14. And coming in at number 13, Julian Lewis. This one sucks ranked this low because, man, I not wait until he starts, but I gotta call it for what it is. And also calling my shot, I don't think Juju Lewis finishes his career with Colorado. I don't see it happening. And now, before everyone gets on my ass, just hear me out. This ain't me saying Lewis can't be great. It's actually the complete opposite. I think there's a chance he's too talented for his own liking to stay there if things don't change. Somewhat like what Raiola just did with Nebraska, but not exactly like that. 2 different players. And we've barely seen Lewis play, but from the little we have seen, you can already tell the kid's got something special to his game. Sure, 3 starts are not enough for really anyone to crown him the king of the conference yet, but it's damn sure enough for me to see why people were so high on him coming out of high school. You really just had to see the level of hype train this man had following him wherever he committed. At the time when I was keeping up with it, in all honesty, I thought he was actually going to commit to Georgia, there, USC, even Indiana when he had a visit back in 24. I think he even had a visit of my Tide. I'm not too sure, but it wouldn't shock me. Most big name colleges wanted Julian. He just chose the Buffaloes after their first season in the Sanders era. But as I was saying, he's got that feeling to him where you can easily see him being one of the better quarterbacks in college football and possibly in the conference, depending on how the year goes. It's exactly why I'm saying he's going to end up being a Lamborghini in a trailer park. He could have everything you want in a superstar. You're still going to need some help, like having an engine to a sports car. That's great, you still need some tires. No tires, how the hell is the car going to move forward? Actually, now that I think about it, that's probably a really shitty way of putting it, but you get the vision. This offense is no good. The moment Sanders and Hunter left, it's like they stopped giving a fuck and just put anyone out there on the field. At least that's gotta be what happened with the O-line, because I can't think of any other explanations for why it was that bad. You mean to tell me he can recruit everything except protection for his quarterback? Look, I can go on for hours about how disappointed they were last season, but I'll just leave it at they suck and swallowed for most of it. So unless they made massive improvements, I'm not expecting some loaded offense that's going to give Julian the best chance to succeed. If they did improve, completely different story. But if it's anything like last year, you're basically feeding the kid to the sharks. You are asking a freshman to carry an offense behind a line that gets pushed around every week like they were hockey pucks on ice, with a run game that disappears half the time or just straight up doesn't exist, with the team that's still trying to figure out who the hell they are. It's either he sinks or swims. Their success will mainly be determined by his actions. How I think the year's gonna go is I think we're gonna see plenty of flashes, but also with the flashes, some growing pains. Cause again, barely any college experience. 3 starts just are not enough for me to double down on his stock just yet. That's why I got him this low. Not because I don't believe in Julian Lewis. I actually think he's got one of the highest ceilings out of all the quarterbacks in this entire conference. But I'm not ranking potential per se. It has something to do with it, but I'm ranking based on what I expect heading into this season. And with this team, I kind of have an idea what we're going to be looking at. As of right now, Lewis is a mystery. He can come out here and play like the hype was telling us, or he can struggle all season long. We just don't know. So until I actually see him play for a full season against Big 12 defenses with this offense and the talent around him, I'm going to put down the Kool-Aid and let the rank determine itself. My prediction is it moves up by a lot. But until he has more games under his belt and I see this team can compete, I can't rank him any higher just yet. Give me Julian Lewis at number 13. Coming in at number 12, Cutter Boley. I'm actually a fan of this pickup. This is a simple case where I say trust the coach more than the randoms online who say this is a bad move. Although I don't see a lot of people saying it's a bad move either. A lot of people are in favor of it. Truthfully, I don't think any moves are bad moves if you put the right stuff around it. Give Cutter an O-line and some weapons, it's gonna age like fine wine. We already know his head coach very, and I mean very well, with a resume that shines bright. Not only was he there for Sam Levitt his first year at Arizona State after transfer from Michigan State, but both Bo Nix at Auburn and Oregon as the offensive coordinator, and Jordan Travis. All 3 very successful quarterbacks under his watch. If he himself chose Cutter and said I can make him work, then you bet your bottom dollar he's gonna work out in the system. Plus, it's not like Cutter's walking in there with no experience. He might only be a sophomore, but he held his own weight all last season with Kentucky, and trust me, that team was far worse than what he'd be surrounded with here at Arizona State. I was able to catch a few Kentucky games, and they were just letting him get his ass kicked around for 4 quarters straight. They gave the poor kid no help, they threw him to the flames, and expected winning football. Like, considering the circumstances Kentucky had him playing under, he did really well. But it was clear they were going to fail him if he stuck around, so the move was inevitable. He needed to take his raw talent somewhere that knows how to use and develop them. So I have no doubt, now that he'll have some help, he'll be much more improved. It's an upgrade, not just for him, but for the team. It's a high ceiling, low floor type of situation. I say low floor because turnovers were an issue of his last season, throwing 12 picks to only 15 touchdowns, obviously an area to improve on. And if he can't, then well, that's the floor. His ceiling on the other hand showcases a big elite playmaker who takes the team to the top just like Levitt was doing. It's possible, he's got all the tools in the box, you just need to put them together. You know, like with most raw talents, you either fix them up to become their best or they just don't live up to their potential. It's a hit or miss really, but with this coaching staff, it gives him a better chance than if he was anywhere else. If they can help him clean up on the mistakes he was making at Kentucky, he's got a great chance of making some noise within the conference. I don't want to get ahead of myself and say he's going to be top 5 within a year from now, but I wouldn't be too shocked entirely. But just last year itself, I had Levitt ranked number 1. If Kyle did it then and even more with other names, he could do it again with Cutter, who's got plenty to prove after his SEC departure. I think Arizona State has something special on their hands. Give me Cutter Boley, number 12. Coming in at another Levitt, a very underrated choice, Jalen Rayner. I say underrated because I think he can be an absolute sleeper. He's got quite the experience, throwing more than 8,500 passing yards with a 52-28 touchdown interception ratio during his time in Arkansas State, while rushing for nearly 1,200 yards and 15 touchdowns. So while not being the future of this program with a lot of room left in his ceiling and instead rather a placeholder until the next guy comes in, he's played long enough to where I'm confident with a much better roster, he'll be the guy that keeps Iowa State rolling in a year where they're pretty much starting from ground zero now that Campbell's gone after like 10 years of being head coach. With a new head coach, it's hard to imagine what it'll look like completely year one, but at least with Rayner, his playmaking experience gives you something to work around and a good amount of hope than if they started someone with less of it. For me, I'm not expecting anything crazy for his first time in the conference, but just a solid season, full of competent dual threat play. He'll give the newly put together offense a spark it needs if they want a chance at a winning season. Possibly more than Rocco Beck, seeing he outplayed him in their matchup last season, but I wouldn't say as good as Rocco Beck. I don't think it's an upgrade, but it's also not a downgrade. I think if he can clean up on his turnovers, which was an issue of his mainly with 12 last season, the season before, and 8 his first year, all against Sun Belt competition, where in the Big 12 it's only going to get more challenging. So one has to wonder how he addresses that. But yeah, if he can cut back on the mistakes he was making in his old conference and show he and his fresh roster can compete with the rest, I'll raise the rank. But with everything being new in this system, I gotta see him and this team first before I put it any higher. I still think he's an underrated choice, and I think a lot of people are going to learn his name if they don't know who he is already. I'm going to leave Jalen Rayner here at number 11. Coming in at number 10, Alonzo Barnett. Here's another move I was mixed on. Not for Barnett, I think he's a great talent, it's more or less a destination he chose. It really has me mixed on the transfer, like you would think after a big season taking your team to the college playoffs, balling out against Oregon, you would think he takes his talent somewhere with even more talent, who he can help elevate into more for that 1 year window he provides. You know, an upgrade. I was thinking somewhere in the ACC, potentially UCLA, which was the hot spot to follow his head coach at the time, or really just anywhere else that's not UCF. Or no offense, they just haven't been that great of a spot for anybody. They didn't help Taven Jackson, hence why he had such a tough year. They couldn't give it to him. What makes me think they're going to give Barnett what he needs? As I said, he's good, but not great. So being surrounded by nothing is a bad way to address this move, and I have a bad feeling that's what he'll get. But as usual, give him some weapons and a competent O-line, and now we're talking. I'm not worried if they're going to give him weapons. I know they got playmakers. It's just this O-line I am not confident in. But at their best, if this transfer in the new team works out, I see a bowl appearance and an 8-4 record. At the worst, I see an exact repeat of last year, 5 or 6 wins, except they're just a tad bit more competitive because his playstyle offers more than the previous quarterbacks. This move in this season depends strictly on what UCF does overall. I've definitely been hearing about the moves they've been making to the receiving corps as I just mentioned. It is loaded with playmakers. And then I've been hearing news about what they've been doing to the O-line, which, again, I gotta see it in action to believe it. Everything looks much better on paper than it does the field. We know Barnett's a stud, but is this year's UCF team going to be an improvement over last year's? If the answer to that is yes, the talent will be much better, we can expect greatness and we can expect a much better record. But if the answer is no, then I don't know what to tell you. I just forgot to mention Barnett's health is another name that's been taken into concern because he was banged up for the offseason, missing most of the spring practice, with Frost acknowledging this and saying they want him at 100% before he steps out. I'm sure he'll be ready by week 1, but I would expect some struggles early on if he is not as 100% like they are expecting. But assuming he's ready to go, UCF's got the quarterback and carried him through the Big 12 gauntlet. My main 2 expectations I'm hoping to see is just him playing consistent within a new conference. And number 2, is the O-line actually good? It's the combo you want for a great year. Like, honestly, they weren't even a bad team really last year, just a few mistakes away from being a good team, so hopefully they worked on those mistakes and they can give Barnett the best roster possible. Now back to Barnett, because this isn't just an evaluate the roster type of ranking. We also got to take into a factor on him and what he brings and why he ranks number 10. I'm ranking him number 10 because let's see the list. Dual threat monster, check. Plenty of experience, also check. Lots of upside with a floor that makes him worth it, also check. Barnett's a quarterback you don't want to get hot. When he gets going, he's going to rip your ass into pieces. Through the air, but mainly on the run is where he shines. 2,800 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, only 8 picks with 1,000 rushing yards and 15 rushing touchdowns. If I was a team in need of a transfer quarterback and I wanted someone who brings nothing but pure electric game plan proven production, as seen in his back-to-back season at JMU, it's got to be him. I don't know if he'll become one of the elite names in the conference within his 1 year, but I don't think he's going to be a name you forget either. My only concern still that remains just a few of his flaws in the conference jump. For starters, his accuracy. It's never been an attractive thing about his game. Yes, he can produce, but he'll still miss routine level throws. The other aspects of his game definitely do make up for it, but you would still hope his percentage moves up. And now that he's playing in a much stronger conference with stronger defense compared to the Sun Belt, the question is, can he be the same player? The only reason I'm holding out some hope is that performance against Oregon, where despite losing, He held his own weight, showing no matter the opponent, he's going to show up and he's going to show up with the offense. Now it's just about doing it every single week in this conference. If he does that, this rank is going to justify itself or prove it needed to be much higher. I've seen him ranked at its highest, number 7, with 14 being the lowest. I want to say number 10 feels about right. I think meeting somewhere in the middle and giving him benefit of the doubt that he does good things for the program and he's able to clean up on his game a bit now, it's a different coaching staff. Now, if he doesn't perform like we're expecting, then it's not too high of a rank to say I was wrong by a long shot. I love the upside, I love the playmaking ability, and I love the fighting chance he gives them. I just hope in return they match the levels of playmaking he'll bring to better their odds of having a winning year. They definitely have long ways to go before they're a competing team, but checking off that spot at quarterback is definitely a requirement. Give me Alonzo Barnett at number 10. Now we get to my Red Raiders. Guns up and wreck 'em tech, but wow, what a fucking offseason it's been. Let me tell you, in what should have been us having a top 5 win in the conference, and Brandon Sorsby turned into an absolute shit show because that pussy almost cost us the season entirely. All because Mr. Sorsby here sucks ass at gambling. Not only did he cost himself another year, let alone his NFL chances entirely, but it nearly screwed over us with the schedule. Because who the hell wants to play a team that encourages shit like this? I don't get why we were so nailed on Sorsby anyways. Yes, he is a great quarterback and gave us the best chance of winning the conference again. But if it was up to me, as soon as I heard about the news, I would have cut his sorry ass right then and there. Bunch of tools in the front office. The community was saying cut him, yet these jackasses in charge are willing to make us one of the most hated teams across the nation by playing him and damaging the brand. Their horrible excuse? Oh, but we'll suck without him. I've been watching this team since like 2012. We've sucked ass before, and if it means saving the team, I'd rather lose every game and let Sorsby play one. Like, my expectations with this team could not be any more medium. Last year was enough to hold me over for like the next decade. Trust me, we were fine losing Sorsby. Just sucks it went the way it did. And the only reason I mention that is because Sorsby was going to hold us over until Will Hammond got healthy. For those that don't know, Will tore his ACL last October. It's the only part that really concerns me. I wouldn't be as worried for the year if he was fully healthy, but coming off a big injury like that means he might not even start week 1. It might be Kirk Francis, and when he does start, will he be at 100%? At 100%, I think he's very deserving of his rank, but I wouldn't blame you personally if you ranked him much lower just because he did get hurt, and we don't know how he's going to look post-injury. I've seen him ranked at the lowest, number 13, and I've seen him at his highest, number 6. And again, if you want to wait for him to prove it to earn this number, I totally get it. He's a giant question mark, and this might just be my bias, but I believe he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the conference by the end of the season. If anything, I thought he looked better than Behl Morton, which if you're a Tech fan like me, you know Behl Morton was not that great. He just benefited from playing behind a good offense. Hammond, on the other hand, is much more talented, so when he's back at full strength, he's going to prove his worth. At least I hope so. As I said, I don't hold high expectations with them, but at least 8 wins. My prediction is this rank rises either midway throughout the year or by the end, depending on how the offense looks, of course. So overall, Sorsby would have been nice, and it is rather demotivating. They'd rather go through hell to start him, but Hammond's right here. I mean, it says more about him in that timeline than it does Sorsby being an idiot. But I'd rather deal with the tough year not having our starting quarterback week 1 than deal with the embarrassment of being a dumb program starting a dumb quarterback. Hopefully he excels my expectations when he's healthy. Regardless, guns up, wreck 'em tech. Coming in at number 8, Jaden Craig. You know, I was wondering how TCU would address Hoover's transfer. To him, they were like, oh, we're just going to replace you with an absolute genius. And man, I didn't think they literally meant a genius. The man was playing at Harvard. He's probably got a degree in some subject I have no clue about and plays ball on the side as a hobby. It's interesting, it really is. I mean, the Ivy League has produced some top-notch players, but most of their players go to the Ivy Leagues to continue their education while playing football with the mindset of not really wanting to go pro. Which, hey, I respect it. It makes a lot of sense. If I wanted an NFL career potentially, I'm going to go to the schools with strong football programs to get me to that level. So playing in the Ivy League, you pretty much know what you go for. But also with that, it's kind of tough to say how good someone really is because to no one's surprise, they lack competition, no offense. So what they see there is nothing in comparison to Power 4 football. I'm only mentioning this for the ranking and why he's here when his achievements should put him much higher than something like this. Like, there's no denying, he was historic for the Crimson. He set the record for most touchdowns thrown in Harvard history. He's a 2-time finalist for the Walter Payton Award, which for those who don't know is the FCS equivalent of the Heisman Trophy. Ranks first in just about every stat they have, from career passing yards, most completions in a single season. I mean, for crying out loud, he led him to the FCS playoffs. It'd be crazy to say he's not the best quarterback they've had since Fitzgerald. I mean, some might even argue he was better than Fitzgerald for Harvard. He's really good. So good, had he entered a draft last year, scouts were noting he would have possibly been a late pick somewhere in the 5th or 6th round. Doesn't sound high, but for strictly being an Ivy League quarterback, that's impressive as hell. It's why he was marked as one of the top transfers in the portal, with TCU locking him down for the 26-27 season. So damn good pickup. And while there's reason to be cautious about it, mainly just a jump of everything around him from the changing game speeds, stronger competition, I think if they can coach him up right to avoid the struggles, give him a run game and O-line, it's gonna work out. Maybe not as good as Josh was looking, but I think he'll be serviceable. He's mobile, he has a cannon for an arm, and processes the field very well. I'm not gonna throw in any crazy expectations because I think he will struggle the first couple of weeks, but I expect him to be a solid quarterback that keeps the offense afloat. Not much of a high ceiling, but his floor suggests he's a quarterback who will keep things under control, make smart plays, and not turn the ball over, which was a huge issue that got people pissed about Hoover. I see the vision, I'm not questioning the move, but I gotta see him get his feet wet first before saying he can swim with the rest. It's still a big jump regardless what you want to say. It's either gonna hit him like a brick on the first hit he takes, or he's already well adjusted and ready to ball. I'm gonna leave him at number 8. I trust the fit, I trust Sony's offense to make things easy for him, but I can't trust he has what it takes to be a top power forward quarterback until he does exactly that. As of now, he's unknown to this level of play, so we'll have to see how it goes as the season passes on. For now, I'm going to put Jaden Craig number 8. Coming in at number 7, DJ Lagway. He's lucky I'm even putting his sorry ass this high. Helps everyone below him is either really inexperienced or just hasn't played in a conference like it. Sure, it's his first time in the Big 12, but, being around the SEC for 2 seasons I think should do him some good. One really good season, and a season I'm sure he wishes he can redo. Hell, I'm sure a lot of people wish he didn't play how he did. You know how many people he made look like fucking idiots saying this guy was a future Heisman? Or that he was going to be top 3 in the SEC? Newsflash, I said the exact words. Yeah, my ass actually thought that shit was going to happen. Instead, what happened was he got his ass torched and went from DJ Lagway to DJU. So many people to blame for his regression. Let's start maybe at his dumbass coach, or either his bad O-line. Wasn't entirely his fault, but it also doesn't help he's playing the game like an absolute dumbass. And it's probably the reason he dropped at his conference, where the competition should be around the level he needs to have a large bounce back. I mean, I'd be lying if I said he's gonna have a tough time facing schools like Louisiana Tech, Colorado, Kansas, UCF. The only schools I see putting his bottom 6 feet under on the field is my Red Raiders, U of H, BYU definitely for sure, and possibly Auburn. Outside of that, he's got a fighting shot if he plays like how he should, and not playing straight like BBL ass. Honestly, if you ask me, I do like the move. Yes, he's gonna stat pad like a bitch, putting up numbers week after week, but the spotlight won't be as large and the expectations won't be as crucial. Here, he can play, develop, and bounce back at his own speed with a new coaching staff that hopefully gets him back on the right track. Talent's all there, he's probably the best Baylor can do following up on the Sawyer Robertson departure. As far as abilities go, if he can just gain back his confidence and remain in shape, the upside's going to pay out tremendously for the team. It's a low risk for Baylor. Either he sucks and his offense is just solid to below average. I mean, nobody had high expectations for the team anyways. Or he gets back to playing like his old self. This team's very electric to watch and makes some noise within the conference. You really can't lose if you're Baylor. Yeah, we'll take the chance of someone who's got a lot of untapped potential. I mean, I treat it as a good thing seeing he was this close to joining Lane Kiffin at LSU. So stealing him from Lane is a win itself. Just gotta help him shake off that one down year and get him to take that next step forward. As I said, despite what happened last year, sky is still the limit. He's got the mobility, crazy arm strength, just overall raw talent who needs to be pointed in the right direction. Dampier had his ass doing circles. He just needs the right place, and hopefully Baylor's the right fit. At his best, he makes it an 8-win team, and he's a top 5 quarterback within the Big 12. At his worst, he's going to be a 50-50 turnover machine. Really interested to see how they can handle his development and if he can dominate in the conference. I still want to believe he's going to become something, but I gotta see him really do it after a year like that. Hopefully we can see Lagway revert to his old ways. I'm going to put him at number 7. Coming in at number 6, we got Avery Johnson. And where do I really start with this one? How about let's call it for what it is and say, we overhyped the fuck out of this move. Sorry, excuse my language, but like most of the quarterbacks we hyped going into the 2025 season, it aged poorly. The 2024 season, amazing. Was expecting a large step for 2025. Instead, it was very shaky and just okay. Still a decent quarterback, but not elite like we were all thinking. Clearly has the tools, but has yet to put anything together that launches him in those elite talks. Now, I ain't saying he is a complete failure like some people are quick to say. I still think he's a very interesting player and very fun to watch at his best. Like when he's on a roll, this offense screams they can win the Big 12. They could be some absolute sleepers when he's on one. But when he's got his lows, he is at his lows. It was just a steady season filled with nothing really crazy, but it also wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. Just very right in the middle. But with that, he's got to do something this year that at least lives up to some expectations. NFL wise, I don't know where he sits or what his goals are. Truthfully, his stock probably already took a hit, so the last thing you would want is for it to go any lower. I'm at least glad he stayed with Kansas State. I think one of the worst things he could have done is probably just entering the portal, because while he could have went to a better destination, I'm glad he stayed in a system he's comfortable with. Also, not to mention the rehiring of Colin Klein should work beautifully. He did wonders as the OC with the Aggies and has long-term history overall as the quarterback's coach and the Wildcats in general. So I'm thinking now that it's under his management, Avery should finish the year much closer to his potential than he is right now at the moment. After all, he did help recruit him, so maybe the coaching change was all they needed. Like, you could just help him work on the reads, decision making, and accuracy. He'll be perfect. He's already got the rushing ability down. For those who haven't watched Avery Johnson, he's crazy fucking fast. You let him turn those wheels on, he's blowing out your best defender in a foot race. I don't give a damn who you got back there. Speed with him is no laughing matter. It's the only thing about playing him you gotta be concerned about. Let your guard down, he's running past you for 58 yards and a touchdown. If he knows he can't beat you through the air, then he sure as hell is gonna beat you with his legs. Again, the tools are all here with Johnson. Someone just has to come and just know how to use them, which is exactly what Collins should do. My prediction, he finally has the pop-off season we've been waiting on and leads Kansas State to a bowl win at the minimum. At their best, who truly knows? This is a good team. All I know is I'm excited to see how the new coach pairing goes. Can Klein be the exact thing Avery needs to clean up on his flaws and showcase his elite dual-threat traits on a consistent level? If he's able to do that, I think he shoots up this ranking, but until he takes the next step we're waiting on, he played good enough to at least land this high. It's not too blown out of proportion or overhyped to have him sitting around number 7, number 6. But it's also not low for what he's done throughout the conference. He's done enough to earn his flowers and land himself around this spot. Really hoping though he's able to unlock himself more now that his coach knows how to play to his strengths. Nothing but high expectations for 2026. Please do not disappoint. Putting Avery Johnson, number 6. Coming in at number 5, Connor Weigman. Now see, that right there is how you have a bounce back. Like, I kid you not, the moment he got benched for the Aggies, you would think that was it right there. For me, maybe it wasn't, but for a lot of people I've been seeing on YouTube, yeah, they were ready to call his career quits. That 5-star hype he had going into the Aggies, they were like, well, he's a bust. That is, until last season. See, that hype we were hearing about with him and what he would do for the Aggies, he was able to show it last season, but instead with the Cougars. The transfer to U of H from A&M didn't really hold a lot of high expectations, but all the expectations that were labeled with the transfer, he ended up shattering. I had a feeling it would work out just because it was a smaller school, less expectations, so he could develop in peace, and develop he did. Not as many injuries, thankfully he stayed healthy for the most part, stable coaching, and he had a team around that gave him the best chance of what he needed for a successful start. Yes, the Aggies had talent, but the shoe just fit better with the Cougars. Nothing wrong with it. They have Marcel Reed, and it works out for them, and he ended up working out with the Cougars. It's a win-win. I'm glad to see he found his spot. In last year's video, I had him ranked around the lower half of the season just because I didn't know how he was going to play after his disappointing season with the Aggies, but 1 year later he finds himself in the top 5. Over 2,700 passing yards, 25 passing touchdowns, another 700 on the ground, 11 rushing touchdowns for a 10-3 record, finishing off the year strong with a bowl win over LSU. If that's not a successful season, then I don't know what is. And because just about everyone that made the team so special is returning along with Connor, I'm expecting another year just like that, if not better. With their schedule, I say anything less than 8 wins should be disappointing with him at center. At this point, I think the only thing left to prove is that the last season was not just a 1-year thing. You know, for his future draft stock. It came back up, but if he really wants it to go higher, he's got to do it again. We already know the talent's there, and the arm's nice. His mobility is not a joke, and his decision making is top quality. It's what puts him one above the category of being a solid quarterback. He doesn't exactly go into the elite tier just like guys above him, but he's right on the outside for the conference. Truly a safe player you know will have you in a winning position. Truly, I see it like this. If they did not believe Connor was the man, they would have already handed the keys to Henderson. You know, the #1 recruit. Like, you gotta really be one hell of a player for them to look at that and say, we're gonna run him back with Connor, actually. Bold move, and I can't say I blame him when he looked this great. As of now, it's clear Henderson's the future, but right now, this is still Connor's team, and it's his job to lose at the moment. But as long as it's his job and he played the way he did last season, I got them as one of the dark horse teams who has what it takes to win the Big 12 championship. Came close last year with their only real bad loss being to my Red Raiders. Realistically, if they don't make the mistakes they do against TCU or West Virginia, they go 12-1 and would sit somewhere near the top or right around BYU. So I'm expecting nothing but another dominant year from Connor and the Cougars. I'm going to put him here at number 5. Coming in at number 4, Behl Bachmeier. Next to Mestamaker, I am so ready to see more of Bachmeier. I don't think you understand how quick this dude's playstyle got my attention. I'll be honest, I had him ranked, I think, second lowest last year. I said I didn't see him doing well as a true freshman in the Big 12. You know, it wasn't impossible for him to pop off, but you know, I have my reasons to be cautious. Same said with everyone else. It's a tough conference and a tough ask for a true freshman to lead your offense after the year they just had with Jake. Nobody, and I mean nobody, expected what this kid was about to do. He took everybody's expectations and multiplied that shit by 5. What people thought would be a year of struggle turned into a year of excellence. 12-2 record, a Big 12 championship appearance, 3,000 passing yards, 500 rushing yards, 11 rushing touchdowns, which was the most in the Big 12, only 7 picks, and 1 Big 12 Freshman of the Year. That right there just ain't normal. It is a rarity to see a true freshman play that well, and whether he repeats it or not his sophomore year, it'd be crazy to not see him as one of the faces of the Big 12 right now. I want to say he's the front cover just yet, you know, when you think of the Big 12, but he isn't too far off. Like, if you wanted to put him in your top 3, I get it. But for now, I got him right on the outside. Obviously, he still has room to grow. He is far from the finished deal, but it is one hell of a start. At his best, I see him being number 1 as I just mentioned, and at his worst, I still see him being top 5. With a phenomenal year 1, the bar is going to be set pretty high for what he has to do in year 2 to show he's improved. Mainly for me, I want to see more passing touchdowns, another 3,000 yard season, and a statement victory against one of the stronger defenses that put his ass on hold last year. And most importantly, another run at the title. I think they're capable of it. The BYU team's pretty good, and with him, I mean, their chances are through the roof. Just give us something to show the freshman season was far from a fluke. I don't believe it was, plenty others don't as well, but he wouldn't be the first player to develop a sophomore slump. So year 2 really needs to show us he won't take a slump, and that year 1 was just the preview. Part of me wants to already call him elite. He's shown he can process game speeds better than average. He's dominant through the air with a quick release, providing excellent timing and placement. Not to mention very dominant on the run as well, like a big battering ram. You just gotta love the aggressive playstyle he gives off. He's also shown me he can lead an offense through tough times. Call it whatever you want, if you want to call it a clutch gene or not, I think so. When the pressure gets tight, he was not out there looking like a freshman. He didn't panic. He didn't start forcing stupid things. He did not try to play hero ball. He just stayed composed, made the right reads, and gave his team the best chance to win. You saw it against Arizona in overtime. You saw it against Georgia Tech when BYU was down 21-10. You saw it against Colorado. I mean, the only game where I think he just had a bad performance was against Texas Tech, but I mean, what do you really want him to do? He's a true freshman going against probably the best defense that money could buy. So whether it's his arms or his legs, he just finds ways to put points on the board. He still has lots of stuff to clean up on, but if he can do it, I mean, we don't know what the ceiling looks like. If this is what he looked like as a true freshman, I cannot wait to see what he's going to look like year 2. He'll show us, was last season just a one-off thing, or are we looking at the start of a very dominant college career? You can argue Behl top 3 and I wouldn't even fight you on it. I just need to see one more year before I put him above the guys ahead of him. Which is ironic because Mestamaker's up there. Mestamaker also has 1 year, but you get my point. You can really arrange it in whatever order you want, and it'll work out fine. For me, though, Behl Bachmeier comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, Devin Dampier. Look, this top 3 was tough as shit to do. Scratch that, the top 4 was tough as shit to pick. I've been flip-flopping the rankings back and forth for the longest time because I can't really have a locked-in top 3. That's just how tough it is when ranking the top guys. You can argue Devin number 1. You can argue him number 4 behind Behl. You can argue him number 2 ahead of Drew. You can argue him here, or you can argue him number 2 ahead of Noah if Drew's your number 1. It all comes down to personal opinion, and while it says number 3 now, if you ask me tomorrow or the day after, I might change my mind. That's how close this race really is. I think all 3 up here are insanely talented and have strong reason to be ruled the best quarterback within the conference. Devin's case is that he's the most dynamic out of the bunch. As a Bama fan, I'll tell you he reminded me a lot of Jalen Milroe. First year with Utah, and he was practically unstoppable for the most part. Each week he showed you he's a nightmare to go up against. Not only do you have to worry about him cooking you in the air, but you also got to worry about him beating your defense entirely only using his legs. I wish I was joking, but seriously, do not give this guy open space. Give him open space, he's not thinking twice before slamming the gas pedal of his for a gain of who knows what. 10 yards, 20, maybe 40. He's squeezing out every single yard you give him before he's brought down. And he's not an easy guy to bring down either. You can get him from the back maybe, but if you're in his way, chances are he snatched some poor bastard's ankles with him. Again, like Milroe, very dominant on the run. Anyways, back to his passing game for a minute because I feel like it kind of gets overlooked whenever people talk about Devin. Everyone immediately jumps to the rushing ability and how crazy he is on the run, but he can also sling it just as good. Nearly 2,500 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, only 5 picks. So for the people who want to say he's only a running back, he's got more dimes than a bank. He makes smart decisions, protects the football well, and cuts up secondaries all game long. The second you think he got his receivers on lock, he's going to find a way to get it right on the money. I've seen him make throws that still have me wondering, how the hell did he do that? Just all around, he is the perfect definition of a true dual-threat quarterback. Now, with all that being said, despite being extremely good his first year in the Big 12, can he top his second season or can he just repeat it? Because Utah did undergo some massive changes, mainly getting a new offensive coordinator this season with Jason Beck departing from Michigan. But also with that, you have the replacement of all 5 starters on the offensive line, with the 2 main studs, Spencer Fano and Caleb Lamu, being selected in the first round of the draft. But pretty much the dominant O-line Utah gave him is gone. It's gone and it's starting from scratch. So it creates both massive challenges and requirements for the way he operates now that it's completely a different line than the one he thrived behind. Not saying he can't, but you know, with massive changes to the O-line anywhere you play, it always brings questions of how will it affect your game. So the question is, how will it affect Devin's game, and can he remain the exact same now that his line's unproven and won't buy him as much time as a highly proven line before him was doing? I'm just saying, even the most elite talents look horrible behind bad O-lines. Because with a bad O-line, you're more or less likely forced to play twice as hard when they keep selling you against tougher defenses. It's only going to make his life a lot worse. So we'll just have to see how they hold up and how he adjusts around it. But if he drops back in week 1 and picks up right where he left off against Nebraska, Utah's going to have to be added to that list of sleeper teams who can win the Big 12. With him, I wouldn't really doubt it. Just like BYU, U of H with Connor, Kansas State with Avery, my Red Raiders with a healthy Will Hammond. I mean, having that game changer really makes a large difference. And Utah has probably the most electric one within the entire conference. He might be ranked number 3, but it's not like the talent gap between him and number 1 is that large. So depending how the year starts off, he might be the best entirely by week 8. It's a stacked conference that is up for grabs. But if we're just going purely off talent, I think he's number 1. But for now, give me Dampier at number 3. And at number 2, give me Drew Mestemaker. From a walk-on to just about the best quarterback in the AAC his first year. He took North Texas to the conference championship, led entirely throughout the nation with nearly 4,400 passing yards, all with a 34-9 touchdown interception ratio. Not to mention earning Offensive Player of the Year. Now he's going to Oklahoma State with pretty much the same surroundings. They hired coach Eric Morris, who's responsible for giving Mestemaker the opportunity to succeed, while also bringing in his right-hand man, star running back Caleb Hawkins. Which, let me just say, if you don't know who this guy is, please learn about him. Very dominant running back right here. So he's got the main weapon, plus others. He's got a coach who he knows very well, and the coach knows him very well and knows what he needs to succeed. Everything around him points to him being a top 3 quarterback projection for the conference. I've seen people even go as far as to put him number 1. Which, hey, I won't argue against it. I thought about it as well, as again, I've been flip-flopping all the roles. At one point, Mestemaker did fall my number 1. If you saw my video on him, you know I think very highly on him, despite only having 1 year under his belt. But the only reason today I'm holding him back from being number 1 is just the conference jump. That's it. I'm not doubting nothing about his game, his talents, Coach Morris's ability to turn this sorry-ass offense around. I'm not doubting any of that. I know they'll be fine. They're projected at least 7 wins. It's going to be a good year for Oklahoma State. I just got to see it first. I feel like that's fair to say. Like, I can't crown a guy number 1 when he's never taken a snap of Power 4 football, where the talent gap between that and G5 football is night and day. So until he proves he can make that jump comfortably, I'm going to leave just a little room for doubt. To say he's just going to come in here with no small learning curve, it's kind of crazy. I think maybe the first 2 weeks you'll see something, but then after that, he's going to adjust. After a full season in the conference, though, I'm sure he'll be back here in the top 3, where he'll just straight up run it completely depending how Oklahoma State's offense holds up. Give me the walk-on sensation at number 2. And coming in at number 1, Noah Fafita. Underrated. That's all I gotta say. Very underrated. I don't see people giving him the respect he deserves. I just don't see him being talked about enough in general. And when it comes to my opinion, I say give me perhaps the most experienced guy in #1 within the conference. In a massive prove it year without McMillan, people wanted to see can Noah carry this offense without any major help. And he didn't just do it again. He went out there and had the best year of his career so far. Not only did he throw 11 more touchdowns, he threw exactly 6 picks compared to his 12 in 2024, went over 3,200 passing yards, passing 3,000 yards for the first time in his career. Again, doing all of this in a season where people thought he was going to take a step back. They doubted his talents. They said he got carried and that he would have taken a step back and that he wouldn't have done a season like this. Well, what do they gotta say now? Crazy shit, again, I just still see him being talked less in comparison to people below him. I don't know what else he needs to do to prove it. 3 straight years of being one of the most efficient quarterbacks within the conference. It's a no-brainer why I have him #1. Yeah, I'll give you that Dampier is more explosive, so him being argued #1 isn't far-fetched. Mestamaker might have the higher ceiling, and Bear's ceiling itself is probably much higher. But if I'm starting a team tomorrow and you let me pick any quarterback in this conference to lead my offense, it'd be foolish to not take the guy who's already seen just about everything you throw his way. The guy who's already proven he could win in this conference. Outside of 2024, he's done nothing but lead Arizona to winning seasons. And looking at the schedule they have in front of them, I think he's about to do it again. Now, do I think he's still #1 by the middle of the season? Maybe, maybe not. It's full of enough talent to where anything can happen. Drew could adjust to the competition immediately and light the football world on fire. Bear could take a sophomore leap into the elite tier. Dampier starts the season off just as hot. I mean, any one of those 3 could take this spot. Even someone we aren't thinking of like Barnett, Connor Bowling, Julian Lewis, anybody. But until somebody actually does do it, I'm going to give that #1 rank to Fafita. He's earned the right to be crowned #1 to start the year. Again, you can arrange it however you want, but if you ask me, as of right now, give me Noah Fafita as the #1 quarterback in the Big 12. And that will do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching another random recap. I just want to say, if you made it here to the very end, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I cannot stress it enough. Thank you all so much for 8,000 subscribers once again. It's a big number. I didn't think maybe 1 year, 2 years from today, I would have been somewhat this big. It's crazy to see how far I came as a channel, and again, it all just goes back to you. Thank you so much. I really hope you did enjoy today's video. I hope my rankings pleased you. Again, it's just all my personal opinion. You are meant to disagree with me. Your top 3 might not be my top 3, or your top 10 might completely not be like my top 10. All I ask is please comment down below what you would have said instead. I would like to hear everybody's opinion and what their rankings have looked like. But with all that being said, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next Random Recap.